Total Control 871. Let's go over the facts of COVID 19, a little bit of its timeline. I have a lot of concerns regarding how COVID 19 came onto the world stage and how it was initially reacted to. I have a lot of concerns about the unique nature of COVID 19. I mean, it really is novel. Um, okay. So we are expected to believe that COVID 19 was birthed, given creation, or came to rise in some meat market in China, Wuhan, China. Okay. And then a doctor came to learn of this virus, COVID 19, and started blowing the whistle. The Chinese government took a very militaristic response, should I say, to this doctor, going so far as to get him to sign false confessions, me blowing the whistle, that was a crime. Very strange, very bizarre. Why in the world would you react in such a way to somebody alerting you to what is purportedly a lethal pandemic, or what could be a pandemic, I suppose, by then? It's not logical. You can't exactly expect me to believe that it has to do with saving face. I mean, I get maybe the Asians, they're all about saving face or whatever, but this makes no logical sense. It's the equivalent of you being at a dinner party, backing up the toilet with a massive turd that has overflowed, and there's shit in the toilet, and shit overflowed onto the floor, and you're gonna do what? You're gonna come out of the out of the bathroom and tie everybody up, hold everybody hostage because you don't want them leaving that house to tell other people how you backed up the toilet. It's embarrassing, yes, but all you can really do is come clean and begin the process to resolving and making it better. It's all you can really do. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for China to take such a militaristic response to this doctor alerting. It's not even blowing the whistle. I took an exception to that term, blowing the whistle. Whistleblowing means that you are alerting people to illegal activity. And we saw their government response, their one party response was to arrest the doctor and get him to sign a confession, uh, claiming that his alerting was the criminal activity, that him making the world aware of COVID 19's existence was in fact the criminal act. Of course, it isn't. That's ridiculous. Um, it makes no sense. Like I say, if something's going wrong, then you want to address that. As a matter of fact, well, thank God it wasn't a toilet issue, but I took note a few days ago that there were watermarks in the ceiling of the kitchen here at the house. I immediately alerted my landlord to that, and he came over with the mask on and the gloves and everything, and he crawled up into the ceiling and got the duct tape, and so he was able to put a temporary patch on a very minor leak, stopping a small problem from snowballing into a huge problem. So, why in the world would China want to stop efforts of stopping a virus that could have lethal implications? The exact nature of COVID 19. COVID 19, it appears to be It has all the hallmarks of the common flu except for one, its incubation period. Don't expect me to believe that it's just some big coincidence that this particular coronavirus, this particular strain, this particular iteration has a multi-week incubation period, as we've seen down in Louisiana during their Mardi Gras. Uh, that Mardi Gras is, cases from that Mardi Gras are coming to yield now at an alarming rate. Um, I'm sorry, I understand that flu viruses, influenza, it mutates its strain to this year, to that year, da 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 da. I don't think there's going to be that large of a leap in mutation that suddenly a virus where when you contract it, you basically got your symptoms within 48 hours, sometimes less. And now all of a sudden, you have a virus that when you contract it, you might not have symptoms up to almost a month later, meaning it's almost as if, yes, somebody tweaked a coronavirus. Somebody took a coronavirus and they tweaked it so that its incubation period would be dramatically prolonged, enabling the 80% of people who catch it into becoming carriers, vectors of transmission. The whole thing, it's starting to look very strange and weird. Like I say, I believe that there is a hoax element to COVID-19. Um, I think the hoax element is in response to the fact that COVID-19 might very well have been a terroristic attack from a foreign hostile enemy. You guys know that I did security, right? Okay. Um, we train on security videos. We go through training, basically. One particular training person, I think, what was this thing? It was either a bank or a jewelry store, whatever. People behind a counter. In comes two people, presumably customers, and as soon as they enter the establishment, one of the two people behind the counter ducks underneath the counter, and out come the guns from the people who entered, and they rob the joint. Okay, ultimately, it was determined that the person who very prematurely ducked underneath the counter was in on it. It was an inside job that he knew that the place was about to get knocked over. Um, Premature reaction because you're in on it. Wuhan, China's military police state. Premature reaction because they're in on it. You're not going to silence somebody alerting the world to a potential lethal virus unless you need the silence to be incurred for a particular period of time. Almost as if China knows, or somebody, some actor or actors in China understand the nature of the virus, that it has indeed been altered to have a prolonged incubation period. Doctor, we need you to shut the fuck up so that our vectors of transmission can have ample time to spread all around the world. Mm-hmm. Now, this kind of attack, it doesn't really normally have China's signature. It's not their style, biological warfare. Um, well, definitely, there's plenty of suspects on the list from the Middle East. But Russia. Russia likes to poison. Okay, they've been known to poison. You can't poison an entire population of a country. It's no real way of doing it. But if you were to use a biological weapon like a virus, one that has an innocuous package like the common flu, the scheme has Russia written all over it. And China looks like they are in collaboration with Russia. And then I start thinking about the timing of everything. You know, I do my best to keep my eye on as many moving parts as possible. Donald Trump is about to be elected out of office, most likely. If you're a hostile foreign nation and you know that there is a buffoon in the White House that has caused 3 years of a lot of damage, quite some of it might even be irreparable damage, and he's about to be elected out in just a few months, the iron isn't going to get any hotter than right fucking now. Now would be the time to strike. Now would be the time to deploy your ultimate weapon. With a buffoon idiot at the helm. And speaking of which, I don't really feel terribly well about Joe Biden. He's a nice guy. He's basically this good guy, loving version of Trump, a bizarro Trump from a parallel, you know. But he has all the, you know, his mind strays, and he's, what is this on The View the other day saying, oh, the vaccine will make everything much, much worse. Oh, I mean, Joe Biden has a great deal of difficulty keeping his train of thought. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I'm still going to vote for the guy. Because just like Trump had an army of people around him propping up the idiot, then hopefully there will be an army of people around Joe Biden. And make no mistake about it, Joe Biden is a one-term president. Okay, the man himself could not even commit to 2 terms when asked. Joe Biden has transition written all over him. Okay, I'll be looking to see if Klobuchar or Buttigieg put their hat back in the ring in 2024. But yes, the timing of everything. Very strange. If you wanted to attack, there is quite the Legion of Doom out there. You know, to use a Justice League analogy. I got my Superman shirt on. There's quite the Legion of Doom out there. China, Russia, North Korea, dare I even say Saudi Arabia. Yeah, our ally. There's a lot of behind the scenes collaboration going on out there. A lot of alliances being forged. I've said it for a while. There is a plot to dismantle and carve up America. I think there is, you know. I think these hostile actors understand, these hostile nations understand that they won't be able to take down America single-handedly. But I do get this distinct feeling that together they're trying to kill America with 1,000 paper cuts. What is that? Is that the saying? 1,000 paper cut death or something like that? And we are so weak right now. Donald Trump has made America so weak. Oh my God. Anyway, I'm going to shift now. Like I said, I have a lot of concerns about COVID-19 in reality being a weaponized virus. Its incubation time and the timing of its deployment are highly suspect. All right. I just got finished watching Governor Cuomo's briefing address from a very large, empty stadium or whatever it was. Matter of fact, I even made a little note here. It was so big and empty that there was echoes. Also so big and empty, you couldn't even hear the press when they were asking questions. And the Q&A section was very, very short, very brief. Um, was this by design that Como didn't want the reporters' questions being heard? He was indeed quizzed about his stockpiling of ventilators and masks and everything and how they're not being used. Why aren't they being used? Well, simple, because we don't really need them right now. Uh-oh. This thing is rapidly falling apart. I don't know if you're paying attention or not. I really don't know. Like I say, I'm willing. Matter of fact, I do have suspicions of COVID-19 being a weaponized bioweapon. I don't know. Maybe that's why the government responded with this subterfuge. With this dramatized response. Number one, do you want to go public and admit that America has been made the victim of a biological weapon? You know, what would our response be? Another 20 years of war? And against who? Who could you see? Who would you go to war with? Hey, I'm just an independent journalist who can make known his suspicions, but do you actually know? So, um, how many ventilators? How many beds? His big empty stadiums. He's erecting 4 more of these MASH hospitals. And frankly, the one that he had the press conference in, it's almost like a theater. He had a stage. I'll use it for the thumbnail for this thing. A stage of these little beds. It looked like a stage that you put on a play. You're putting on a show, Andrew. You're putting on a show. The question is why? Um, Now I want to be as fair as I can to our nation of governors. I'm not just simply picking on Governor Cuomo. Um, Governor Cuomo might very well indeed have classified information. As a matter of fact, I'm almost certain he does. I'm sure the nation's governors have very classified information in regards to COVID-19 and quite possibly its origins. Um, you know who I'd like to hear from? Barbara Starr over at the Pentagon. Then again, I don't know. She's been very mums. I don't have cable, so although usually when Barbara Starr reports, her segments do end up on YouTube. I would like, because I really enjoy Barbara Starr's reporting. She usually gives very inside analysis. I don't know. I'd like to hear more from the Pentagon other than just simply MASH hospitals, mask and stuff that people, like I said, the kind of things that people can wrap their head around. I want to hear more. Now it's the apex and not just the virus, because that's what Governor Cuomo is saying. It's all about the apex, or we're stockpiling for the apex, and it's not just simply so it's not COVID-19 by itself enough to justify all this, but now it's the apex that may or may not come. This whole response, it's you. Do you understand? I don't know. Maybe you don't understand. Maybe I am taking my understanding for granted. As I was getting this episode together in my head, there were a lot of things, a lot of analogies in my head that I questioned myself. What should I run with? We've got Thundercats. There's Lion-O's Sword of Omens. Give me sight beyond sight. You know, I do have sight beyond sight, and I have been just one of those people who are blessed with the ability to see through bullshit. Um, and then I started thinking about my fifth grade class, my fifth grade teacher, Miss Sakini. I had about a B average in my language arts class. Miss Sakini would teach. And I could quite easily have had an A or A plus if I just simply was willing to read the instructions and maybe actually pay attention to Miss Sakini when she was giving her chalkboard instructions. But I didn't because I just simply didn't want to. I would space out when she would be up at the chalkboard diagramming sentences. When we would do our work booklets, I wouldn't read the instructions. So, in other words, it's what would cause me to get certain things wrong that would drop my average from an A or A plus down to a B or B plus. I would rely on my ear for language, for all of it. I got to skate through English lit without having to work. And because that's an analogy, and another analogy that goes hand in hand with it is a singer. Whatever your favorite singers are, have you ever wondered how do they get to have such a great voice and sing so well? But from their particular perspective, they don't have to work for it. It was just simply a gift. They have the ear for the music and the voice for the music, and they can just simply produce it. I mean, maybe they can get something out of a vocal coach lessons, but if a vocal coach is really worth their salt, then first thing they'll tell you is that they can't actually turn a non-singer into a singer. Just doesn't happen. You have to have been blessed with the gift. Just like I was blessed with a gift for language. You see, when I would go to read the curriculum, I could, because they would have like incorrect sentences, and then you would have to correct it to show that you understand. I didn't have to listen to Miss Sakini. I didn't have to read the instructions. All I had to do was read the sentence. That's it. Okay, I didn't have to pay attention to making the verb plural, the rules for when we make if the noun is plural, the verb is plural, the is from the are and the duh. All I had to do, just like your favorite singer, listen and repeat. And just like that, it would just simply come to me. And I would just simply bang it out. Truth is very much indeed like this. Okay? When the government is out there hypno-mind fucking you and giving you all sorts of very strange da 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 da. I'm right there listening, and like the Sword of Omens, giving me sight beyond sight. I can see the bullshit. The only thing that I don't know is why. Why is our government lying to us? I would like to give the benefit of the doubt to Governor Como and Governor Murphy and Governor Wolf and all of our nation's governors. The White House is just simply fucking lost. Is the Governors Association acting with benevolence or malevolence? One thing's for sure, everybody is definitely looking to get a payday. Also, in my notes here, speaking of payday, rush, rush, rush. Hallmark of a con job. That's what I wrote here. Rush, rush, rush. Hallmark of a con job. If you've ever, because I've been binge watching. There you go. Burn Notice. I didn't have to watch Burn Notice to know, but if you have ever watched any episodes of Burn Notice, whenever a con is being pulled off, the sense of urgency is always present. Always. And the mark, the pigeon, the person who you are conning, they're the ones who are made to feel that if they don't act right now, you know. So I believe that this whole thing is going to burn itself out. And I'm not talking about the virus. The con, it's falling apart in front of Como's face, in front of everybody's face, in front of the White House. The whole thing, it's starting to fall apart, and you can't really. People are starting to ask questions. We saw some get my next halls here. Some fresh video footage. You have a doctor. All she did was walk down. Oh, it was like 10 seconds, if that. Um, People and little ER rooms with the curtains and the beds and the. I'm sorry, all you showed me was a very, very average looking ER room. I saw no sense of rush, of alarms aren't going off, ventilators, of heart alarms, cardiac arrest, all the kind of drama that you see. If you were actually being slammed, and I'm sorry, I don't see any of this. All I see are a bunch of empty ass stadiums, so empty that you can't even speak without there being an echo. All right. And all I see are very average looking hospitals. They showed, there's a tractor trailer backed up here to cart away the dead. Okay, about a 53-foot refrigerated trailer there. I think they said it was 15 people who died. Now, I don't really think you need a big ass refrigerator unless. How many people die? You see what I'm saying? You just can't say dead. It's how many people are dead, how many people died from COVID-19. And again, going back to the whole flu numbers, the annual flu numbers. You see, they really painted themselves into a corner with with the flu shot propaganda. It really put you in a corner. And if COVID-19 is more of a threat than even I myself am realizing, you have nobody but yourself. The government and big pharmacy have nobody but themselves to blame. You cried wolf year after year after year. I'm sorry. I think that I saw nothing. Where is the footage? Where is the warehouse of dead bodies? Where is the stadiums of people on the ventilators, the sick and the dying? Also, I want to say about that, NBC got caught in a lie. I think it was Nightly News with Lester Holt. That Nightly News reported that in New York, they're now using ventilators for 2 people. Wrong, God damn it. They're not actually using ventilators for 2 people. It's been approved. The procedure, should it prove necessary, has been approved. So NBC got caught in a lie. However, ABC, they did indeed correctly state that the use of splitting ventilators has been correctly reported. So I'm seeing more and more evidence here that you are just simply, you're misleading the people. I mean, hey, you should be more on point, okay? Trump's already slamming you with fake media, fake media. You are starting to do things that are turning his slogan into reality, okay? You are starting to lie, okay? You need to get your shit together and start reporting correctly and factually, all right? And you can start, goddammit, by showing us the bodies. Showing us the bodies, blur the faces if you have to, and show us the warehouses of sick people, the stadiums of people hooked up to all these goddamn ventilators that you say you need. Your con is starting to fall apart. Total Control 871.